Welcome to the Let It Shine podcast. This is Donna Tipton Howell, your host, and today we're talking on a topic called She Smiles at the Future. I want to thank my ladies at my ladies Bible class. We discussed this month, and it always gives me new ideas to think about when I talk with them. And I think today, when we talk about this passage in Proverbs 31, where that phrase comes from, we may look at it from a different perspective than maybe we've thought about before. This is about a worthy woman. Other words used to describe her might be excellent, virtuous, a woman of valor. In Proverbs 31, King Lemuel shares an oracle or a poem his mother taught him, probably when he was a prince, to prepare him to be a king. First, she warned against drinking, that might impair his judgment. And then she instructed him to look after the rights of the mute and the destitute. And then she instructs him about women. She says he should not associate with foolish or vain women, but he should seek a virtuous woman as his wife. So we see right here, this lady is not yet. She is just an ideal that his mother would like him to look for. It's not necessarily a woman with a particular name. And wouldn't every mother want to advise her son to marry a woman such as this? And it would not be easy to find her, for her worth is far above rubies. This is the kind of woman that we would all want to find for our sons, our grandsons, our nephews. So maybe you've not read this before. If not, get out your Bible and read Proverbs 31. But I'm moving on for sake of time, as I know most of you are familiar with this. So King Lemuel's mother begins to describe this woman for whom he should set his sights. She has several qualities that would make up her character. If you're like me, you may have often been a bit intimidated by the lady we thought was in Proverbs 31. She has often been set forth as the woman we should become, but we know, with all her wonderful qualities, everyone has bad days. Everyone gets into messes. Everyone sins, even a virtuous woman. So rather than seeing this as one woman at all times and as a checklist to follow, let's think of her as an ideal we can shoot for, as this is probably not one particular woman with a name, but rather maybe a picture of a lady who over a lifetime has demonstrated these qualities often in her life. And this is more about her spirit that leads her, her attitude towards God, serving God and man, rather than a checklist to be completed. Some of the qualities Lemuel's mother hoped his wife would have were: she would be trustworthy. Her husband didn't have to worry about what she was doing when he wasn't around. She was not a deceiver. She was not going to lie. She was not going to hide things that were important from her husband. And he knew he could trust her. That's huge. She also does her husband good and not harm. She doesn't put him down or talk bad about him to others. She's an asset to him, not a liability. I know there are times that I, in the past, have done my husband harm. Maybe he's done something to hurt my feelings, and, I wanted to get back or something by just not talking to him or being angry or hurt. But the aim or the goal of the worthy woman is we will do our husbands good and not harm. And this verse has actually come to mind and helped me at times past to get past some of that. And that's not saying that in your marriage you won't sometimes need to go to a special person, a wiser older woman, a sister, someone who can advise you on maybe some of the problems you're having, and that's perfectly fine. But we know the difference between that and a woman who does her husband harm, puts him down in public, and just doesn't lift him up. We don't want to be that. This lady is resourceful. She finds good deals. She's not wasteful. I'm thinking she maybe raises her food in a garden and cans and freezes, which is healthy and economical. Or maybe she lives in the city and she goes to market and picks out good food, healthy food, and prepares it for her family. And we know that all of us don't do this all of the time. But the worthy woman, our spirit should be that we want to do good for our family and we don't want to be wasteful. We want to be resourceful. That's really fulfilling, to find a bargain and to budget things and to use your time and your money well. So that's a good quality. She looks well to the ways of her household. She makes provisions for those in her care. Now, we don't have servants today, most of us, but we may have a housekeeper. We have a mailman or the Amazon guy that brings us packages. We have waiters and waitresses and people that serve us in different ways. So we can take them something, some food from our garden or our produce or some flowers, or give them a tip and just show that we care about those that help with our household. And she looks well to the ways of her children and her husband. And she is busy doing good. Now, this lady's picture is she's up early, she's up in the night, she's sewing at night, she's constantly busy taking care of her household. Well, we know that this is probably not the picture of one woman at all times. But in the right season of our life, we are busy doing what we need to do at that time. If we have little children, we're busy caring for them. And in times when our children go off, we find other ways to be busy with good things for our house and our family and those that we love. This lady is strong and full of dignity. I think she's strong-willed too. She's intentional in what she does, and I like that she's full of dignity. Folks in town at the gate look up to her husband. Her family probably has a good reputation. She's not crude. She doesn't talk about things that are ugly or just off color. She's pure. Her speech is pure. Her mind is pure. She is also generous and kind to the needy. She's not stingy or selfish or greedy. She thinks about the needs of others. That's something for us all to work towards. And I think overall, she is just prepared. This lady is not afraid of the weather. And then here comes our topic sentence, she smiles at the future. When I was looking for this, I've thought of this verse as been my favorite for a long, long time, one of my favorites. And I couldn't find it. The versions I was reading were saying she laughs at the days to come, things like that. But finally I remembered in college when I first studied this passage in depth, I was using the New American Standard Version, and so that's why I learned it, memorized it that way, that she smiles at the future. And I think there are two reasons that this lady can smile at the future. Now, James tells us we don't know what tomorrow may bring, so she didn't predict, she didn't know what was coming, but she still had a positive outlook. And I think the first thing is just that she had done what she could. She was prepared. She had done everything she could to make sure that her family would have the best chance of surviving and even thriving in any situation to come. But beyond that, we're told that she fears the Lord. And I think this is the key. Only those who fear and trust in the Lord can smile at the future. And that's the truth. There's no one else who can really smile at the future, because if you don't have the Lord, you don't have anyone to take care of the parts that you can't prepare for. There are lots of things that we can do to prepare for the future, but there are many things that we can't control, and we lay those at the feet of our dear Lord. So this worthy woman was prepared, but she also feared the Lord and trusted him with what she couldn't do. So through a life of struggles, probably some hardship, some sin, forgiveness, this woman has gained wisdom. Perhaps Lemuel's mother herself was even a worthy woman. But no doubt there were seasons when she might do well at some of this but be lacking in others. But she was intentional in becoming a servant of God, so she became one. And I think I see the wisdom in Lemuel's mother saying, look for this kind of woman. No, a young maiden is not already all of these all of the time. She's not even a wife yet. But she should have qualities that maybe are just the size of a mustard seed, but you can see that she has potential to grow into this woman. So she smiles at the future. She has a positive outlook, and she gives her worries over to the Lord, and she focuses on what she can do that's good, and she leaves the rest to him. Now, all of this, most of this, except for the trusting in the Lord, is talking about physical things this lady does. But I think it's for a lesson for us that in the spiritual, God gives us the same type of protection that she gives her family. In Isaiah 61:10, I love this. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord, for he hath clothed me with garments of salvation. See the Lord clothing us as she clothed her family? He has covered me with a robe of righteousness, as a bride adorns herself in jewels. So in a spiritual way, the Lord takes care of us as his children, and he clothes us with garments of salvation. What a beautiful picture and parallel with the woman in Proverbs. And I see this woman becoming who she has become by doing things like what we're told in Philippians 4:8. Think on these things that are excellent, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. So the woman that we want to become has to have a mindset to think on things that are heavenly and to put her trust in God. And probably we can read the Proverbs 31 and say, no, I'm not there yet in all these areas, but I have a spirit that wants to fear the Lord and wants to trust him. And I'm going to look at this example of what a virtuous woman would look like, and I'm going to become her to the best of my ability with the Lord's help. So I hope we can all take something good from this and apply it to our lives. And I hope everyone has a great day.